A low, distinctive throb in the summer sky of 1944. A sound that brought the world a new, terrifying message. This was the Fiesler Fi-103, what the Allies called the Doodlebug, or simply the V-1.
Before the war, Germany quietly pursued rocket research. Far from public eyes, a new era of warfare was being conceived, driven by visionary engineers.
In the remote Baltic island of Usedom, a top-secret facility took shape, Peenemünde Army Research Center. Here, scientists and engineers were given unprecedented resources.
Leading the V2 project was Werner von Braun, a brilliant but ambitious young rocket scientist. His team aimed to build the world's first true ballistic missile. The V-1 was a different beast, an unpiloted aircraft, essentially a flying bomb. It was simpler, cheaper, and faster to produce than its rocket counterpart. Powered by a rudimentary Argus pulse jet engine, the V-1 rattled through the sky at 400 miles per hour, carrying an 850-kilogram warhead. The V-2, or Aggregate 4, A4, was a far more complex undertaking. Standing 14 meters tall, it was the culmination of decades of rocket theory. Liquid-fueled and gyroscope-guided, the V-2 was the world's first long-range ballistic missile, capable of reaching space during its trajectory. Early V-1 tests occurred over the Baltic, refining its rudimentary guidance system and pulse jet reliability. Success was hard-won, but progress relentless. The V-2's journey was even more challenging. Explosions and failures plagued initial tests, yet its potential remained undeniable to Hitler. Hitler christened them Vergeltungswaffen, or vengeance weapons. He envisioned them as a psychological hammer, breaking Allied morale and turning the tide of war. Mass production began, often in vast, secret underground facilities. Thousands of V-1s and V-2s were readied for deployment. Just days after D-Day, on June 13, 1944, the V-1 offensive began. London became the primary target, suffering the brunt of the first vengeance weapon. The distinctive sound of the V-1 earned it the nickname Doodlebug or Buzz Bomb. Its engine cutting out meant just one thing: imminent explosion. Thousands of homes were destroyed. Over 6,000 people were killed and countless more injured. The attacks were random, bringing terror to everyday life. Allied defenses scrambled. Spitfire and Tempest fighters risked their lives to tip the V-1s off course, while anti-aircraft batteries fired relentless barrages. V-1 launch ramps, constructed along the French coast, were key targets for Allied bombers. Operation Crossbow aimed to destroy these sites. Then a new terror arrived. On September 8, 1944, the first V-2 rocket struck London. Unlike the V-1, it arrived without warning. Traveling at supersonic speeds, the V-2 hit before its sound could be heard. The silence, then a devastating explosion, became its chilling signature. The V-2 delivered a ton of high explosive with immense force, creating deep craters and leveling entire city blocks. Londoners endured months of this unseen threat. Antwerp, a crucial Allied supply port, also became a major V-weapon target, suffering over 1,600 V-2 impacts. The port city was relentlessly pounded. V-2 launch units operated from mobile positions in forests or hidden sites, making them incredibly difficult for Allied air power to locate and destroy. Allied intelligence, using ultra-intercepts and reconnaissance, worked tirelessly to predict and counter the V-weapon threat. Despite heavy Allied bombing of V-weapon sites and factories like La Coupole, the attacks continued until the final weeks of the war. Over 2,400 V-2 rockets were launched at Allied targets. Together, V-1s and V-2s killed an estimated 18,000 people, most of them civilians. As Allied ground forces advanced into Germany in 1945, The full horror behind the V-weapon program was uncovered.
Deep within the Harz Mountains lay Mittelwerk, a vast underground factory where V-1 and V-2 rockets were produced.
It was not just a factory, but a concentration camp, Dora Mittelbau. Thousands of prisoners, mostly from Eastern Europe, were worked to death building these weapons. The human cost of the V-weapon program stretched far beyond its blast radius. More people died constructing the rockets than from their explosions. With Germany's surrender, the race began for V-weapon technology and its scientists. Operation Paperclip brought Werner von Braun and his team to the United States. The captured V-2 rockets and German expertise became foundational for both American and Soviet missile programs. The V-weapons were the direct ancestors of intercontinental ballistic missiles and the rockets that launched humanity into space. Ultimately, the V-weapons failed in their strategic objective. They could not stem the Allied advance or alter the war's inevitable outcome. Yet they stand as a chilling reminder: innovation, when coupled with fanaticism, can birth instruments of unprecedented terror, forever changing the face of warfare and exploration.